Hey fellow simmers, welcome to this tutorial from FlightSim Productions. Today we're going to cover multiplayer, but hosting it on your computer. This will work for FSX Retail or FSX Steam version. Let's get to it, shall we? The first thing you're going to want to do is open up some ports in your router. So you are going to go to your router settings, and it's going to ask you for your password and your username. So you'll put those in, and I am using a Netgear router, obviously, and you're going to go into the port forwarding and port triggering part, and this is where you're actually going to open up some ports on your router. You're going to, I have my ports already set, and what you would do would be to add a custom service if you're using Netgear. Check with your router company. This may be a little bit different depending upon your router manufacturer. Since I already have mine ready to rock, let's just open it up and I'll show you the ports you need to open. Okay, you can name your port forwarding anything you want to. You're going to want the service type to be TCP/UDP. You're going to want your starting port to be 6112, and you're going to want your external ending port to be 27016. You're also going to do the same down here for the internal starting port at 6112 and your ending port at 27016, which is automatically established. Your internal IP address will come from your router, and once you have this set up, you may actually have to go back in and physically click on your computer and hit apply. Sometimes you have to, sometimes you don't. If the other person can't connect to you, then you know that you have to go back in your router and click the apply button so that it reapplies everything to your computer. Okay, and then when you're done with that, you can just go ahead and log out of your port forwarding. And go into your FSX. And I will show you how to set it up and how to log in. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to check our IP address. If you're hosting, you have to make sure that you provide the other people your IP address, and vice versa if they're hosting. So what I do is I go to my handy dandy web browser and I go to Google. There's a couple different ways you can do it. This is just easier for me. Just as quick. I type in IP address, and it automatically pops up in Google. And if you want, you can copy that, or you can just tell the person over the phone, okay, this is my IP address, or Skype, or whatever you're using. And just wait for FSX to boot up. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go into our multiplayer tab. And we're going to go into network settings, this little tab down here, and we're going to put in those ports that we just opened up, which is 6112 through 27016. And we want to make sure to enable voice communication. This video unfortunately does not include TeamSpeak, so you may want to venture out there and check out another tutorial on TeamSpeak. There's quite a few of them. We're going to click OK after we have these all set up. We can go ahead and leave the default connection timeout at 90 seconds and keep alive every 15 seconds. And we'll click OK. We definitely want to make sure that we have the local network LAN selected, and we're going to go ahead and just sign in. Again, this is actually for the person hosting the session. And once we're done with this, I'll show you what to do on the other side. You can go down to host a session, And you can name it what you want. You can have it a mission, free flight, whatever you want to do. Put your session description in here. If you want to create a password, that's not a bad idea. Go ahead and do that. Okay, session availability. We can either make this session visible to everyone, or you can make this a private session. I always just leave it as default by make this session visible to everyone because it's local and you're going to be giving out your IP address anyway. And you want to make sure that on your local LAN network is checked. Go to next. And this is where you do your normal everyday free flight stuff with putting in your aircraft, your airport, all the other goodies that you usually do. And then you click next, and up here in player restrictions you can put the maximum players you're going to invite, slots reserved for friends, session times, and you can just go through all this stuff basically and see if that's what you want to do. You can enable the voice communications. You can do the sharing of your aircraft if you want to do maybe a long flight and have your buddy next to you taking over part of the controls some of the time, and it's kind of neat. Go into the advanced options and there's a bunch of choices there. You can go ahead and peruse and see if any of those are to your liking. And the next thing you do is click next and it'll say it's connecting. And that's basically it. You have hosted on your local landline. Okay, if you're on the other end where you're actually going to join someone that's hosting a session, you're going to click on Network Settings. And it shouldn't matter what these are set to if you're joining a session. If for some reason it does, I don't believe it does, but you can put in the numbers 6112 and 27016 respectively as we did before. And click OK. And go into Sign In. Click on that little button. And that will bring up a screen here in just a second. In this session, you're going to actually put in your buddy's IP address that he just gave you. So if it's 111.111.1.1, you'll put that in there, and then you'll hit Find Session. And it's not going to find anything because it's not an actual IP address that's typed in there. But if you have your buddy's IP address, that'll go right to him, and you guys can do your flying in multiplayer. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial from FlightSim Productions. If you've enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/FlightSim Productions. Until next time, keep your head in the clouds.